Hey guys, welcome to episode 4 of our weekly Super Smash Bros. Ultimate News Roundup, which means there's only 22 episodes left to go until the game's launch. As usual, we're joined by Derek, Ash, and John to go over all the updates from the Smash Bros. Blog, as well as elsewhere from the past week. So let's get right into it. And starting off for day 1 on Sunday, we have a character overview of Sonic, as well as a brief description that reads, "This speedy fighter has a lot of rush-type attacks. His final smash, Super Sonic, lets him fly around the stage at an incredible speed." Now, Sonic was playable in the E3 demo, but since I'm not the biggest Sonic guy, at least in Smash Bros., I didn't try him out. But hey, maybe one of you guys can enlighten me. Has Sonic changed at all based on when you played in the E3 demo?
He's changed a little bit. Like I said, I've mentioned this in a few of our discussions in the past, but he does have a new lock one functionality, I guess, for his homing attack, which is just a standard B, where he'll rotate in the air for a little while, and if after enough time passes, a reticle will appear on one of the opponents, and he'll zip to them a lot faster and a lot harder, doing a lot more knockback. But of course, it's also a charge move, so it has to do. You have to wait through that entire process. Otherwise, you can just hit it again and do the old one from the old games. And otherwise, yeah, it still feels like Sonic. Nothing too new otherwise that I noticed anyway.
Yeah, did you use Sonic much originally? Because I know you're a big Sonic guy, of course. So did you play as him in Smash Brothers Wii U?
Yeah, not as much in Wii U, but in Brawl, of course, I definitely checked him out a lot, and he didn't feel that different from Brawl to Wii U, at least I felt. He's still pretty much the Sonic I knew, and I liked him, but he always kind of got annoyed by the fact that it just took forever to take out anybody with him. He just did not hit hard enough, and I think that might have been solved here. I had a lot easier time when I played a Sonic at E3, getting those KOs and actually winning with him, so that was a nice surprise.
It might have just been because you're taking on a bunch of noobs.
That could be too. I don't know, one guy was really talking himself up, so it felt pretty good when I beat him.
Nice. Now, as much as I love Sonic the character, I've never been a fan of how he plays in Smash either, Andre, so I actually didn't play him, but I am looking forward to seeing how he's changed, but I kind of agree, like, the fact that all of his different special moves are variations on the spin dash, I just feel like that was always kind of wasted potential to me. However, I do really like that they've added the homing attack, or kind of updated the homing attack to add that reticle and make it feel more like the move in modern Sonic games, so that's really cool.
I don't think I even fully realized originally that it was referencing that move from his... I mean, I guess I did, but it didn't feel like it really was. It just felt like he had a homing attack that was somewhat similar to his 3D games.
Yeah, it wasn't all that obvious, and I know one thing that would be interesting to find out from Sonic mains is how his back throw is, because his back throw used to be a really reliable kill throw, and then it got kind of nerfed in somewhere along the way in Smash Wii U, and made not quite as good. So I'm kind of curious to see if it's been made really good again, or if it's still kind of been nerfed.
I'm kind of disappointed that his alternate colors are still just variations of blue.
Yeah.
Like in every Smash game, his alternate colors are pretty much the exact same, but like a bit darker or a bit lighter. And they could try and make him look like other Sonic characters, or be a bit more fun with the source material. But it's still just the same old boring colors.
Make him pink.
Right.
Bring it in.
There you go. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, having the same boring colors is pretty fitting for a boring character to play as in Smash Brothers, I mean.
Wow, you went there, didn't you? Jeez.
Wow.
I wonder, though, if that is Sega's influence. It's like, hey, no matter who's playing a Sonic, it has to look like Sonic. So that's why you have 8 variants of blue, and you're going to like it.
Probably.
That wouldn't surprise me if it was, to be honest. But I mean, maybe it's also Sakurai, who's like, that would ruin the integrity of the character, maybe? Because I feel like most character alts are drawn directly from inspiration from various things in actual games, and Sonic doesn't ever become anything but blue, other than gold, of course, or Super Sonic, but that could be why as well.
Now, speaking of colors real quick, or Sonic colors, if you will, someone on Resetter, I forget who it was, pointed out that apparently the color trails for Sonic, for some of the Sonic spin dash attacks, I believe, they change colors, I think, depending on maybe which move you're using, or the charge level. I can't quite remember exactly, so I was wondering if any of you guys had noticed that.
Not a bit.
That is cool, though.
Yeah, that's cool that that's there. Like, I think anything they can do to make the character like look a little bit more interesting than he had previously is a win in my book.
Come on, they should have just gave him his soap shoes from Sonic Adventure 2.
Yes.
So, I will say, like, regardless of my personal feelings on how he plays as a character, it's cool that Sonic's here again. I wasn't totally sure if all the third-party characters would be back originally, although I figure Sonic probably would be the one that would be. But even though they're all back, it is good to see Sonic back as well, even if I don't care much about how he actually plays. So, alright, anything else about Sonic, guys?
Well, I mean, I guess just about Super Sonic, because the blog update does talk about Super Sonic, and I do love that, again, with all the final smashes being changed to be a little more cinematic, faster to get people back into the action faster, I do love how they've changed it where he's just zipping across the screen back and forth and just at blinding speeds. It takes what already worked about Supersonic's Final Smash and kind of maintains the feel of that form of Sonic, but in a faster, more cinematic way, and I like that.
Yeah, how he flies at the camera with the 7 Chaos Emeralds orbiting around him.
It's so
I'm pretty
cool.
sure that's why they banned Smash Balls in Brawl, in competitive Brawl, because Supersonic was just so broken. So it's pretty cool they fixed that.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Sonic, we got a second update around this series, with a new assist trophy being Knuckles the Echidna, or as I like to call it, the consolation prize for Knuckles the Echidna, because he's not a fighter in the game, he is just an assist trophy. The description reads, Knuckles attacks nearby fighters with his fist. He can also dig into the ground and then attack with an uppercut, so be careful. And we've seen some gameplay of him already where it looks like he kind of dives around the stage at an angle before like uppercutting his opponents or digging underground and uppercutting. So yeah, I mean, again, you guys are Sonic fans. What do you think about Knuckles being here as an assist trophy?
So, in the gameplay from the treehouse, he does a homing attack too. So he digs around. He comes out of the ground, kind of similar to Sonic Adventure, and he'll do the exact same homing attack that Sonic does as well. So it's kind of interesting that he does that because he doesn't really homing attack in many Sonic games.
Yeah, I don't think he has one in any of them that I can think of. You'd think he would actually glide around
I think
instead.
He does in Sonic Rivals for the PSP. I might be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure he does.
Yeah, that is an interesting choice, though. But yeah, I kind of hope, I can't remember if it's Sonic Adventure 1 or 2, but I think it would be really great if like, he did attacks and missed, if he did that little, oh no.
Oh, God.
Give it your best, oh no.
That's in the original adventure.
But yeah, I mean, it's a consolation prize. I mean, I think what's the most interesting thing about Knuckles is who he's replacing, actually, because the Sonic Assist Trophy in Smash Wii U used to be Shadow. And that he's not anymore, so that has caused fans to think that maybe Shadow might debut as an Echo Fighter for Sonic, giving Knuckles the Assist Trophy title. So that would be interesting.
It could just be we haven't seen Shadow yet, though. That's just the issue.
That could be as
here.
well. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I think it makes sense, though. You know, they're pushing Echo characters as a whole new genre of character. So Shadow just makes a whole lot of sense, because he pretty much just is Sonic, apart from sometimes he has guns.
Yeah, I mean, you just replace his running animation with jet shoes, and
to
there
be
you go.
fair, John, that is a pretty big distinction.
To be honest, I actually like Knuckles as a assist trophy more than Shadow, because Shadow just sort of came out, did his chaos controls, slowed things down, was never that big of a factor in any of the matches. Having Knuckles hunt you down, hide underground, uppercut everybody, it's just, I don't know, it's a lot more dynamic and a lot more interesting. Plus, Knuckles is my favorite Sonic character, so it's kind of cool to have him in here.
You know who I think is really getting robbed, though, honestly, is Tails. Like, it really should have been Tails, like, being the assist trophy, because not only could he do more interesting things, like, I mean, yes, Knuckles can burrow into the ground and uppercut and stuff, but I feel like Tails, they could do, like, a confluence of things. They could have him fly around, but they could also use some stuff from his newer incarnation where he's like a tinkerer and an inventor, so he could throw gadgets around, and I don't know, but he's Sonic's number 2. Like, Tails deserves better, and I can't believe that he's not, at least not yet, an assist trophy or something.
Well, hold on, Ash. You're assuming, I mean, the problem is that would mean he's not a playable character, so there's still hope now.
That's true. I'm assuming he's not, but that would be really, really, that would be a cool surprise, in my opinion.
Have him drop the dummy rings from Sonic 06 around the map.
Oh, God.
And then that way you also get in chaos control because it causes slowdown.
Right. Oh, jeez.
So that was it for the blog updates for today, but we also got some other news, this time about Amiibo on Monday, where they did confirm that every other returning character that doesn't already have an Amiibo will be getting one. So this includes Ice Climbers, Young Link, Pichu, Wolf, Snake, and Pokemon Trainer, which includes Squirtle and Ivysaur. So yeah, I mean that's cool. Like, I mean, I think we're expecting it.
I mean, it really is. It's kind of what I did the update for this, and it's pretty much exactly what you said. I mean, it's cool, but it's not surprising. It's
right.
Like, okay, it's, you know, it's nice to have confirmation, but was there ever really any doubt that this would be happening?
They haven't shown them off yet, right?
No.
Right.
No, but you can very safely assume, especially based on the Inkling and Ridley Amiibo, that you know what their poses look like. Just look at their character art, or the official character art for them. That same pose. And as Ash said, a lot of the ones that already have Amiibo had these really dynamic and kind of almost airborne poses that were a little different. While when I was taking a closer look at the fighters that did not have Amiibo yet, they're very much grounded more so than the others. Mm-hmm. And Well, obviously there's a reason for that, but I mean, it's still kind of cool. I want an Ice Climbers amiibo. I want a Snake amiibo. Young Link would be cool.
Yeah.
You know, there's some amiibo in here that would be cool to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Snake amiibo in particular. I need that. Like I need that now.
Yeah, like I know I want to get Snake and Ice Climbers and probably Young Link, and that's the annoying thing is just when I thought I was done buying amiibo, and I have been done.
You say that every time, Ash.
I know. They keep coming out with ones I gotta get, so I gotta at least get a few from this last set here, and yeah, but I mean, it is nice that they're coming. It would have been strange if they had left this weird gap where some veterans don't have amiibo. So, and yeah, like you said, John, gotta have the Snake amiibo. I mean, come on.
All right, well, moving on to day 2, being Monday, we got character overview for Falco with a description that reads, he's a talented aerial fighter with amazing jumping ability, but Falco is a bit slower on the ground. His final smash is an all-out attack using an unorthodox formation of R-Wings. So yeah, Falco, based on what I can see, looks to be pretty much the same character he was in Smash Bros. Wii U. I'm sure there's balancing tweaks or whatnot, but I didn't notice any move changes, but let me know if you guys noticed anything. But his final smash, first off, I'm so glad they changed it from the Landmaster, because that thing is one of the most obnoxious final smashes of all time. And his new R-Wing one looks awesome. Like, it looks cinematic, it looks quick, it gets the job done.
Yeah, I agree. And the way that it differs from Fox's makes sense for Falco. I mean, of course, they're the same final smash again, but, you know, with Falco's, you've got him, you know, there's R-Wings, he's flipping around and doing all these barrel rolls, and, you know, he's Team Star Fox's ace pilot, he's brash, he likes to show off, and that's exactly what he would do. So, you know, even though it is the same as Fox's still, it does vary from Fox's in a meaningful way, whereas Falco's Landmaster didn't really.
Everybody always gave it heck because, you know, I prefer the air, and here comes the Landmaster. It's just really strange and really dumb. No, it's cool to have, you know, Falco's obviously back. That's not a surprise. He's always been a fun character, a very popular one. But yeah, I can't see any difference. Like, they say he's a talented aerial fighter with amazing jumping ability, so maybe they changed that aspect of him, where he's not quite as good on the ground as Fox is, which would be kind of a meaningful difference between the two. But otherwise, the moves that you know are definitely here.
I think that's always been the case, though, between Falco and Fox. Like, Falco's always had a really slow running speed, but his initial jump height his jumps are crazy good. Whereas Fox, you know, has that fall fast speed, and he's really fast on the ground, but his air game isn't quite as good.
Well, hey, speaking of air game, that's a perfect segue into Tuesday, day 3, because we got new music, baby! This time for Kirby Air Ride, City Trial specifically. And let me just say, first off, I love that this game is finally getting representation in Smash. And it sounds amazing. I love how they remix this song. It just sounds, I mean, like, it sounds, you know, they Smashified it, right? They turned it into a song that's more fitting for Smash, and even though we only got a small preview of it, I'm just digging how it sounds.
Now, I apologize in advance, Andre, but as much as I love Kirby Air Ride and the theme to it...
Shut up, Ash!
just mute it.
I'm just saying, I'm saying I love that it's here! I'm happy it's here, I'm just not loving this rearrangement yet.
Why do you gotta bring us down, man? Why do you gotta bring us down?
Look, I'll just say that I'm a big fan of Noriyuki Iwadare, who did this rearrangement, and I can hear his style in this. I just need to hear the whole thing. I'm thinking if I hear the whole song, I'll like it more, but what I've heard so far isn't my favorite. He's done the Lunar series, the Grandia series, he did some Ace Attorney stuff, as well as a few songs in Kid Icarus Uprising, so he's definitely one of the big ones, and I love his work, but yeah, just the segment of the song that we've heard so far, I'm not loving it yet, but I'm not saying I hate it, Andre. It just hasn't quite gotten its hooks in me yet. That's all I'm saying.
No, I like it. I think it was very good, especially since I have no familiarity with the City Trial song, since I never owned or played Kirby Air Ride. So, sorry, Andre, I'm not keeping the hype up to the levels that you want, but I do like the song. It does feel properly Smashified. It does feel like has that epic quality to it. I can definitely see beating up people on a Kirby stage to this, and who knows, maybe we'll get a City Trial stage.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it. Most songs so far have been from quite high profile recent games,
right?
And to hear something from City Trial, which is kind of on the niche side of Kirby, it's just fantastic, and it's a really great rearrangement too. So it's great to have both representation for it, and to hear it as it is just brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is on the more niche side of Kirby. However, there is one important factor we're not considering here, and that's the Sakurai factor, because he actually was the developer of Kirby's Air Ride. So It makes sense that he maybe references his own game, and he's brought up Kirby Air Ride before within the context of Super Smash Bros. 3DS when he announced Smash Run, because that mode is based around how City Trial worked. So what I'm getting at is, I am really hoping that they bring back some form of Smash Run, but now with this theme behind it. I want City Trial on my Smash Run.
Or even, I mean, as we were beginning to talk about, a Kirby Air Ride stage. I mean, that would be kind of out of left field because Kirby Air Ride, as great as it is, isn't super relevant today. But again, that Sakurai factor, I would love to see just a whole stage based on Kirby Air Ride.
I mean, that'd be amazing. It'd have to be a traveling stage, I feel like.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything,
definitely.
Yeah, I don't think there's any like particular one element that's distinct, but as a whole city, it really does come together. And yeah, that'd be amazing. What if they had like the different fighters in the background duking it out as you're playing? You get to dodge them on occasion when they roar through the battlefield.
That would be
awesome.
really cool. And the stage could just be called City Trial and take place in, be a traveling stage in that city. Like, that would be so cool.
One thing they could do is, at one point, so they had different events that would happen during City Trial, and one of them was like a giant UFO came in. What if that's the platform you ride around on, and it takes you around the city on an aerial tour, perhaps stopping at points and letting you off?
See, now, if the problem is, if this doesn't happen, we're going to be disappointed. See, we're setting ourselves up now.
It's true. Well, there's one thing we won't be disappointed by. Hopefully, we better not be, Ash, at least, and that's the fact that the second update on Tuesday is talking about the return of Kongo Falls, or rather, more specifically, the return of Kongo Jungle, which is now known as Kongo Falls for whatever reason. I think this is another Kongo Jungle stage, right?
Yeah, it's a Kongo Jungle 64 stage. Yeah.
The important factor is it's back for the first time since Melee, and it looks freaking amazing. Like, if you compare, the impressive thing is, I was actually at E3 2001 when they announced Smash Bros. Melee, and that was one of the playable stages they had, being Kongo Falls or Kongo Jungle, and it looked amazing back then. Of course, now it doesn't quite hold up so much, which is why they updated it, and it looks amazing again. So it really captures the essence of this stage, particularly given the Donkey Kong series has long been about looking really freaking good in the platform it's on.
In a weird way, it actually kind of reminds me of the way I felt when I first saw Smash Bros. Melee back in the day. Like, when I first saw that stage back in Melee, the graphics back then, by those standards, blew my mind. And seeing this updated version of Kongo Falls, maybe, I'm not going to say my mind is blown, but I am really impressed by just how much better and how much refreshed it looks compared to the Melee version. So it just kind of brings back that feeling of, wow, this looks really good.
Yeah, and this is probably the best example of a remade stage yet. Like, when you look back at Smash for Wii U and Brawl, when they used Melee stages again, they kind of look the same.
Yeah.
I mean, the textures were redone. Like in Temple, they redid the Hylian letters to make it say something new. So they redid the textures, but they weren't drastic. They weren't complete remakes. They're just kind of tidy ups. Whereas this just looks outstanding. Like, this looks like an entirely new stage.
Yeah, it really does. And although I will say that whenever they do eventually, formally reveal Princess Peach's castle on the Smash blog, that will give it a run for its money, because that one looked really good as well.
It does. It really does. Real quick, I did forget to read the description for the stage. It reads, face off against your foes atop a raft stuck at the edge of a waterfall. How well utilized the rock jutting out at the bottom right can be the difference between a victory or defeat. And I wanted to make sure I read that, because that rock really is key to making the stage. That rock is amazing.
That rock is so memorable
to
my gameplay experience, because there's always somebody that jump over there to try to just stay away from the fight, and then you try to get over there, and either you get knocked off immediately, or they would defend it so well that you couldn't get on there, and there was so little room to work with. It was really just a kind of small King of the Hill kind of element to it that I think makes to me, that rock is the most memorable aspect of this whole stage.
Yeah, I have to agree, actually.
Yeah, I wouldn't quite go there, but it's close. I'd say the overall visuals are what stood out to me, but the rock is a key component of that. So
I guess just in a competitive sense, because so many matches have been won and or lost because of that rock.
And I think I proposed before in one of my Smash videos, like, it'd be cool to start adding some new modes, including a King of the Hill type thing. Like, what if there were areas of the stage you actually did have to fight for actual proper control in order to win? So if that rock were an actual King of the Hill thing, that'd be amazing.
Oh my god, that'd be
That's true. It would be like almost King of the Hill. It would be like King of the Hill within King of the Hill, because, at the end of the day, Smash Brothers itself is kind of like a King of the Hill type game already. So to have that, have a specific part of the Smash stage where you have to control, I think that could be really cool. Yeah.
Question: was the DK rap ever brought back after Melee?
I don't believe so. No.
For good reason.
Yeah, I mean, this song could return for this.
I hope it does. I just, yeah.
I mean, it's going to. There's no question. They're going to bring back that song. It was one of 2 songs they could play, or no, was it the only song they could play on the stage? I think it was the only song, right?
Yeah, I think it was the only
It
one.
might have been. One of the notable things about it in Melee was that I specifically remember they quote unquote censored one hell of a guy to one heck of a guy, I think, in the
So
Smash
ridiculous.
version. Yeah.
So good. Yeah, I mean, for me, I always felt like the remix of that song, or the remake, was such a weird take on it. It was such a bizarre take. I mean, granted, the song is bizarre by itself.
Yeah, they cut it up too much.
Yeah, I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they also recorded it with real instruments, which is just kind of weird how they would do that, and then completely just cut it up like that.
All right, well, moving on to day 4, being Wednesday, we got character overview for Young Link, in which the description reads, he's back after 17 years, Young Link is faster than Link but he's also lighter, making him easier to launch. So yeah, again, this is a character returning from Smash Bros. Melee, which is awesome, especially because now he's even more distinct from the main Link, because Link lost his hook shot, but Young Link still has it, which is important. So, this is the character I never really expected to come back. So, it's kind of cool that he is.
Yeah, I thought he was effectively replaced by Toon Link.
Yeah, same here. I mean, and I've said that in previous Smash prediction discussions before Smash Ultimate was revealed and everyone was coming back. I'm like, well, does Young Link ever need to return because we've got Toon Link now? And, you know, I think that's a cooler version of him anyway. But at the same time, with the whole everyone is here conceit happening, it is really cool to see Young Link back. And I actually didn't realize how much I missed him. And I'm kind of wondering, like, we haven't seen too much of him yet. And correct me if I'm wrong, we may have already know this, but I'm wondering if he has his fire arrows back. And I don't know. He does. Okay, I figured he probably did. But either way, I am looking forward to playing as him and kind of just getting a feel for how he actually does differ from Toon Link and just seeing how the two slightly differ from one another.
Yeah, one thing I also noticed, which has changed from Melee, is his taunt, where he's drinking Lon Milk, is now like 1 second long, whereas it's one of the longest taunts in Melee at the time.
Yeah.
I remember it was a long one, that's true, yeah.
Which is a little bit odd that they would change that, because you can now cut taunts off short, or you can cut them off if you want to get out of it.
Right, you can dodge out of them, which was still a strange change to make anyway. One thing that's really getting me about Young Link's update is that he's back after 17 years. Does that make anyone else feel ridiculously old?
Yeah,
like,
it was like, wait,
my
it's
God.
been 17 years since Melee? What?
That's insane to me.
That's 10 years longer than the gap from Young Link to Old Link in Ocarina of Time.
I know.
Oh, jeez, that's true. That's just crazy that it's been 17 years.
I do want to say, he looks awesome. He looks great. Like, it makes me wish that we had, I want to get those Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask remix out on Switch now with updated character models based on Young Link here, but he looks fantastic.
Oh,
He really
absolutely.
does.
I love the detail on the Deku shield. Like, it really does just look like a piece of bark ripped off a tree and turned into a shield. It works so well. I do wish there were maybe a few more elements from Majora's Mask to help separate him from other links, but this still works and still.
Hey, that's a perfect segue into this point I want to bring up, Derek, and that's the fact that the music we hear during this trailer is in fact from Majora's Mask, baby. It's Termina Field. Now, granted, I had to listen to it a couple times to double check those Termina Field, but it's very much just the normal Hyrule theme too. But it is Termina Field, which I believe is the. I can't remember. Is this a second song from Majora's Mask in the series now? I think it's a second song.
Well, the only other one was the original version of Termina Field, and now this is a brand new rearrangement of it. So it is still technically just one song, but at least it's it's a new rearrangement that we haven't heard before. But maybe that also means we'll get something from Clocktown, or it would be nice. Like there does need to be a little more Majora's Mask music in Smash.
Do you think that'll be his final Smash? Like something Majora's Mask
That's
related?
a good question.
Oh, what if he pulls down the moon like in Hyrule Warriors?
Oh my God!
I can
there
also
you
see
go.
Fierce Deity Link showing up.
I was gonna say Fierce Deity Link makes sense to me just because they played so heavily on the mask aspect of Young Link, like especially in Hyrule Warriors, for instance. Like so much of his moveset is based around his ability to wear masks. So I could see Fierce Deity Link being his final Smash.
I want the moon.
I do too. Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Fierce Deity is a transformation which they've kind of cut down on. So would they just have like a cinematic version?
I
of
would think like a
Yeah,
cinematic.
that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one problem though with the moon idea is the fact that there's an actual stage from Smash Bros.
Right.
Melee in here being the Great
Bay Temple.
So
Yeah.
Oh, that
Great
doesn't
Bay.
matter. Knuckles shows up as an assist trophy, and he can be seen in the background of Green Hill Zone.
That's also true.
Yeah, that's a good
Although
point.
the moon, I feel like, is a bit more noticeable. But yeah, I mean, that's not really a reason not to do it necessarily.
Yeah.
I would find it kind of funny if you were playing on that Great Bay stage, and you see in the background the moon all of a sudden just lifts up out of the air, and then all of a sudden comes back into the foreground as part of his final
Right.
smash, and then he sort of goes whoop back where it was, or the moon just becomes Alfonso.
All that.
Just his face, Alfonso's face.
Yeah, there you go.
It's just nice to see him back. I didn't realize that I actually did miss him more than I realized I did. I still prefer Toon Link, just that version of the character, but just to have them all here is really cool.
All right, well, we had another update on Wednesday, being another consolation prize, an assist trophy in the form of Krystal.
Oh, man.
The description reads, in addition to attacking with her staff, I said it like she does, Jesus. In addition to attacking with her staff, Krystal also uses her Ice Blast to freeze fighters. Don't underestimate her. Wow. Don't underestimate her. It's like they know people are going to just kind of beg on her.
Exactly, because it's Krystal. Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
I don't know. I was part of the collective back in the Brawl days that really wanted to see Krystal added as a playable character, and to this day, I still think she would have been more interesting than Wolf because she represents a completely different moveset and playstyle than Wolf. So I still kind of wish she was playable, but I also understand why she's not. And it is cool to see her make an appearance as an assist trophy at the very least.
So is Krystal still a canon character?
Who knows?
Is there any Star Fox canon? Is there any canon?
That is a better question.
I know. What they should have done is made Cursed playable. Her emo dark version where she loses her identity and becomes this new. Yeah, that's what they should have done.
A good point about Star Fox Adventures, though, is her model here is based entirely off that, whereas they redesigned her for Assault and Command. So you still have those. She's sort of covered by little robes now, like she's in Adventures. And obviously she has her staff as well. So that's kind of interesting.
That's interesting.
Also, so much for a spear user so far for Smash. Although, Bandana D, I'm just saying, Ash. This was one of your suggestions, and she didn't make it in, so that just leaves room for Bandana D.
I suppose it does. But yeah, well, I still don't think it's going to happen, but who knows, right?
Probably not, but...
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's cool. I like that she's more than just the staff, like, poking people with it. She's just she has that ice attack too, which gives her a little bit more range and versatility as an assist trophy.
Right.
Although I do think it would be really funny if she was like Starfy style, or where she just pokes people, just kind of walks around harmlessly poking people with her staff, just kind of just disappears and that's it.
I mean, that's kind of her thing from Adventures. She shows up at the
True.
beginning and then doesn't show up until the end.
She doesn't do any. Yeah, she doesn't really do anything in that game. Yeah.
I felt like we saw more of more of her character type in Dinosaur Planet, and that game didn't come out. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I am disappointed, though, that we don't have Tricky yet. He'd be a great assist trophy.
Oh, God.
Right? Or a playable General Scales. We do need more villains, after all. I love how nobody took that seriously. It's like, yeah, we need more villains, but General Scales.
he
come on.
undermined himself in that game. Like he
did.
He wasn't even the villain, so
Yeah.
he was a temporary villain, a fill-in villain.
Right.
Villain.
All right, let's move on to the final day of the week, being Thursday, where we got character overview, trailer, and description for Pokemon Trainer. The description reads, the trainer returns a Squirtle, Ivysaur, and Charizard. You can choose to play as a male or female trainer, which is awesome. Like, I loved seeing that in the trailer. I love that that's an option now. And I just love that Pokemon Trainer is back. I felt like his presence was missing from Smash Bros. Wii U. It felt weird having just Charizard out there by himself without the other supporting Pokemon with him and the trainer in the background. So yeah, this is probably the character I'm actually, right up there. Like, he's one of the characters I'm most excited for are back. Maybe right behind Ice Climbers.
Yeah, and one of my favorite things about that they've changed about the trainer is that there's no more fatigue or get like the Pokemon getting tired element. Like you can basically main Squirtle, Ivysaur, or Charizard the entire time. You don't have to choose between them or switch between them because they'll never get tired. So I do think that was a key change that Pokemon Trainer really needed. And I'm really glad to see it happen.
I don't know how I feel about that, because I actually like the idea that it gave you incentive to switch between them. As it is now, you could just play as one Pokemon forever, which just kind of undermined the point of Pokemon, where like you are switching between your team of Pokemon in order to win battles, right? So I like that there was a built-in incentive for it. That aside, my favorite change personally is how fast it is swapping them in and out now. Like you can swap them,
yeah.
you can swap them in and out in the air. And the change is instantaneous. So you can start you can knock someone into the air as one character, swap out to another character, and attack them while they're still in the air.
Yeah, that aspect's really cool. And this trailer shows dodging basically through the switching. Like they go to attack, you switch them quick, they miss their attack, and then you counterattack with that new Pokemon that you just sent out.
Right.
It's a really cool visual style. I can see probably some pretty good Pokemon Trainer players out there swapping it out, really messing with people's heads and getting that aspect. And it's cool to have it back. Like Squirtle's my favorite Pokemon, so having him in here is great. I am so happy for that, and it's just cool to see the Red back.
Yeah, no, it really is, and also joined by Leaf.
In Brawl, whenever you change Pokemon, then you can almost hear the disc churning, which tells you exactly when they're going to come out. It leaves you really vulnerable too. So you can just sort of charge a smash attack while you wait for the disc to churn, and then you know exactly when to let go.
Nice. Great point. Yeah, no, I remember taking a while on. I mean, all the transformations took a while in Brawl, and they weren't always. I mean, they were consistent because it was reading from the disc. So depending on where that laser was reading from previously, it might take another half second to a second to appear. So
right.
that is by far my favorite change. None of that waiting nonsense.
And kind of on that note, I wonder if Sakurai might throw a potential bone to trainer mains and have something where there's some sort of button you can hold or some directional input you can hold to begin a match as a specific Pokemon. For people who do, they prefer starting as Squirtle or whoever.
I think so.
Yeah, you think? Yeah, it makes sense because that happened with Brawl, I believe, back with before Zero Suit Samus was a separate character. There was some button combination you could hold to begin the match as Zero Suit Samus.
Zelda and Sheik as well, I believe.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I'd be very surprised if that weren't the case.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they could make it part of the costume thing where you cycle through it enough and they'll switch between the three Pokemon.
Maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it is also really cool, the different costumes for the Pokemon Trainer, both Leaf and Red, how they are referencing, you get to see the reference to Gold in there, and just all the other trainers throughout the years. It feels like they have a lot more to build off of this time around, which is kind of weird to think about, because I guess on Wii they were in Gen 4 by that point.
Yeah, that's one area that kind of let me down, actually, because I've been rooting for a Alolan Pokemon Trainer, and now that we've seen all of these represented in just this Kanto one, that dream's dead. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah, you are maybe gonna get Decidueye, and you're gonna love it, and that's that's all I expect from potential Alolan representation.
There is one other change real quick with the Pokemon Trainer, because with Charizard no longer being a standalone character, that means he had to lose a move in order to make room for the transformation mechanic or the swap out mechanic. And the move he lost is Rock Smash.
Which is a really good move.
Yeah, I mean, it had super armor. It was actually a good move because it had super armor and everything, and but that's also kind of interesting because this goes back to what we were talking about, how you're not necessarily a fan of them removing the fatigue element, whereas I like it. But what's interesting is, regardless of how you feel about it, you're also kind of, even if you do want to main Squirtle, let's say, you're also kind of handicapping yourself in a way because you're maining a character that has one less special move than almost every other fighter in the roster. So it's kind of an interesting balancing that happens there.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, and I don't know, it'd be interesting because I like how Squirtle's this speedy little guy, and Charizard's all about the power, and Ivysaur, for some weird reason, is really good at anti-air.
Right, with was it Bullet Seed? Yeah, Bullet Seed, right.
So I don't know, I like it. I tried it out. Didn't do great, but it's also been years since I played as Pokemon Trainer, so I need to get back into the swing of things. But I like the fact that he's here, and again, I'll probably exclusively be playing as Leaf just because I love Leaf being here. It's
also cool to see how they've implemented the Pokemon Trainers into the new stages, because obviously in Brawl, they would hang out in the background, and we've seen in a few stages they just kind of float on these suspended platforms, but in other ones they just hang out in the scenery, which is pretty cool.
I love that. I love how in Saffron City he's just chilling they're just chilling on a building in the background.
Right.
Yeah, it's really cool how and it'd be kind of fun to just go through each stage and see how the trainer interacts with that stage in terms of where they are in it.
So yeah, totally agree. I mean, that could be a video right there. So
good point. Good point.
Good point. Find the Pokemon Trainer.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? It's like, where's Waldo?
The one thing I will say is that I think I may have underestimated, foolishly, I might add, that how excited people are about Leaf or female Pokemon Trainer, because a few weeks ago I posted just this random 7-second video of Leaf and Ivysaur's victory animation of just her petting Ivysaur, and that was by far the most viral tweet I have ever posted. It got like 4,000 retweets, and
Wow.
people went nuts, like 7,000 favorites. It went nuts, and I think of course it makes sense, because Pokemon Smash, that's, two really hyped things are even more hyped together, but people are so excited for female Pokemon Trainer in the game, and it makes sense, of course, in hindsight.
Alright, well that brings us to the end of the week, but we're not done yet because we have our Patreon question to get to, where we'll answer a question from one of our patrons at the end of each episode, and this week it comes to us by way of Zetsu Boys, who asks, just wanted to start this by saying thank you for all the work you do here. Anyways, on to the question. Recently people have been making a lot of hype over the fact that you can turn off stage hazards, and that got me thinking, what are your all-time favorite stage hazards in Smash? The kind of stage hazards that almost make you sad to turn them off due to all the flavor and fun antics they provide. Best wishes. So for me, it kind of gets right back to something we were just touching on, being Saffron City. The Pokemon that come out, that just pop out randomly of that little door, can't be topped for me. They are hilarious. I love how they seemingly catch everyone off guard. Like, you just have an opponent sitting right by the door, and then, like, Charmander will pop out and just light them up on fire completely randomly. And I've had so many good memories from that, from, like, from my Smash 64 days, that I am so glad that stage is back along with those hazards. So that is one stage in which, even though I am so glad there's a stage hazard toggle, I will never turn them off on that stage.
Absolutely, yeah. And there are other stages too that have really, really fun hazards, in my opinion. And for me, I actually like stage hazards. The ones I don't like are like the ones that take the form of other fighters or boss characters that are just, overtaking the arena and not really letting you just have your match. But I love the ones that are kind of part of the stage itself and can be avoided and that are telegraphed. And by that, I mean the cannonballs from Pirate Ship. I love those because they make sense with the stage, they feel organic, and they're completely telegraphed. So if you're playing smartly and you're watching the background as well as the match, you know that these cannonballs are coming and you can get out of their way. And those, I think, are the best kinds of stage hazards.
By that same token, probably the one I would miss the most and one of my favorites, and it's just such a simple little thing. The Wispy Wood stage from Melee. Just the fact that Wispy Wood's blowing you from one side to the other. You just have to keep a little bit of a better idea on where you're at, and sometimes it could catch you off guard with how far Wispy Woods would blow you in one direction or the other. And
This game's still rated E, right?
Yeah, it totally is. I mean, how is a game that's all about sucking and blowing not rated E? Let's be honest here.
Well, Derek, you're talking about greens, right?
Yeah, greens. That's one.
Because I think that's actually back. Well,
yeah, no,
we
it is
know
back.
that's back.
Yeah, no, it totally is back, and I'm excited to have it back. It's one of my favorite stages, especially because the blocks could be knocked away, and like I've had so many accidental deaths happen, or if you knock them away and then try to get back, and then the blocks reform, and you're just kind of screwed. Like there's a lot of really fun aspects about that stage, but yeah, just getting blown back and forth. I don't know. There's something really fun about it.
This isn't my favourite stage hazard, but it just occurred to me that Pyrosphere probably won't return because Ridley was the stage hazard of that stage. So unless they're going to have like one huge Ridley and one small Ridley,
That would actually be amazing. Holy crap, that would actually be amazing.
I'd be all about that.
Isn't the Ridley in Other M a clone anyway?
That's true.
That's a very good point.
Oh man!
Canon.
Oh man!
Or again, it could just be Alphonse.
Yeah, I will say I wasn't a huge fan of most of the, or maybe in half the measured stages of the hazards, like the one, I forget what it's called, the one that flips upside down from Brawl.
Oh, see, what's funny, I was actually going to bring that one up as one of my favorites, the Frigate Orphean. I love that because, it's telegraphed and you can plan for it, and I think those are the best kinds of stage hazards. So I was actually going to say, I'm so glad they brought that stage back because they cut it for Smash Wii U and 3DS, and I personally love that hazard. So, sorry, Andre, I love that one.
Brinstar and Brinstar Depths, having the acid and having the spinning stage.
Those are better hazards. Those are hazards that need to stay. And I mean, hey, I hope that original Metro stage from Smash 64 is back. It's never come back. So I think it's time. It's overdue, and I want all of its acid in all of its glory. So.
Mm-hmm. So would Ridley be in that one too?
Oh, wow! That's right. He is in the background of that one.
It's hard to say.
I guess it'd be like Knuckles. He can just chill back there. It's Sprite Ridley. It's a little bit different than 3D Ridley, right?
Maybe make it Sprite Crate instead.
There you go.
Yeah.
I thought of another hazard I don't want to turn off, and that is the claw on Halberd. The claw and the laser beams. I love those.
I love those, and I gotta give shout-outs to both Wario stages, Gamer and WarioWare Inc., because the hazards in those stages feel organic to the games they're pulling from. And especially gamer. I love like with the mom looking in and having to avoid her gaze, and it makes sense, and it's organic, and it's a really fun gimmick for that stage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually think WarioWare Inc. is probably my favorite stage hazard ever. Like, it just feels like you're playing a game of WarioWare.
It does.
It does. Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah, even though some of the mini games don't quite seem to work that well in the Smash context in terms of like standing still, it does add to the chaos of it, and that just makes it more fun.
Yeah. I agree, absolutely. I mean, I'm actually one who doesn't mind stage hazards overall. Like, I actually like them, but there are times where I'm like, yeah, I really wish I could turn this off. So, it's amazing. Yeah, so I'm so glad that toggle seems to be here now. I'm excited to see how in depth it goes. Like, will it allow you to toggle things off on a per hazard basis? Like, like just turn off, like, for instance, the laser beam and not the claw in Halberd if you wanted to, or is it all or nothing?
Yeah, that's the question.
I guess it would be all or nothing. Because it's just a little button that you push, I think.
I'm guessing it would be all or nothing, but I do at least hope they draw a line to distinguish between like environmental hazards and bosses, because most environmental hazards I'm going to want to keep on. I can already predict, but bosses I would turn off across the board. Get rid of Yellow Devil, get rid of Clone Ridley if he's still in it, get rid of the Flying Men from Magicant. Like any boss characters, I'm just turn them all off.
The bosses were one of the worst additions to Smash Bros. Wii U. Bested only perhaps definitely by Smash Tour.
Oh man, yeah, that's for sure.
I think Metal Face probably worked the best as a boss.
I was about to say, I like Metal Face a lot in Gaur Plains.
Okay, Metal Face, I would, because Metal Face isn't too overbearing. Like, there's still...
Well, because the stage is huge.
Gaur Plains is so big that there's still plenty of room to fight. And I do like his voice clips. Like, he just makes me laugh that he's so over the top, so... Metal Face I would keep on. He gets a pass.
I'll allow it.
Yeah.
I'll allow it.
How do you reckon they're going to tackle the stage hazard toggle for the side-scrolling stages? Like, do you reckon we're going to have we would have like a static view and then a pit below us? Because a lot of stages have like, is it Mute City, which is side-scrolling?
You're thinking of Big Blue.
Oh, yeah, Big Blue, that's right.
Or Big Blue, yeah.
So, like, would Big Blue just have a bunch of vehicles as platforms and have a bottomless pit below them? Or would we literally just be fighting on a static road?
I'm not sure.
Static road actually does sound like an F-Zero stage.
It does, actually. I could see there being certain stages that aren't compatible with the stage hazard toggle, such as Big Blue and certain other, really, really outlier stages that are kind of their own unique thing. So, like Mushroomy Kingdom. Like, I don't think that would necessarily...
Right, the whole stage is the stage hazard.
That's exactly, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
Alright, so that brings us to the end of the week. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as usual, if you liked our discussion, make sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain. You can find links to those in the description below to go keep up to date on everything we post. And if you want to submit a question for next week, you just have to back us on Patreon for just $1. You'll get all kinds of other perks as well, including access to the podcast 3 days early, as well as exclusive access to our VIP room and our official Discord, as well as instant access to the Discord in general, which still isn't open to the public. And with that, thanks for watching, and we will catch you next week.